should have destroyed Carthage, every man, woman, and child, many years ago.
Saguntum is lost, and our Western allies have failed us. Where was the last report of his whereabouts?
My spies in Iberia tell me his fleet has sailed. We must expect an invasion at Massalia!
This is nonsense! No fleet has sailed. Rome controls the Mediterranean. He's not attacking, he's making allies. At this very moment, he courts the Macedonians, the Greeks. Illyria will rise up against us, and the Adriatic will be lost once more.
Ridiculous! Epirus won't stand for it. Our legions have sole military access to their land. I believe the attack will come from Africa itself. He intends to cross the Mediterranean and invade from Sicily. Syracuse will revolt and sweep up from the south.
That's wild speculation.
We cannot
He will come not from the south, nor the east. Our mercenaries in the north report that he has forged an alliance with the tribes of the Po Valley. He intends to circumnavigate Massalia and march his army...
Over the Alps, perhaps! He would lose half his army from attrition alone. The other half would desert.
We must defend the mountain passes.
Do you expect the Gauls to welcome him when he arrives?
I suppose he will bring with him an army of elephants!
Senators, I dare say that would be quite a feat, even for the great Hannibal Barca.
Alright, now that was a hell of an intro, if I do say so myself. So, this brings us to the focal point of this video, which is going to be Total War Rome 2. A fantastic strategy game based on ancient warfare. I highly recommend it to anyone who's fascinated with ancient warfare, quite like I am. Now, unfortunately, due to time constraints, I don't really have the time to go over all the facets of the game. So, just to quickly go through what it is we're going to be doing here today, we're going to be doing a custom battle. In this custom battle, we're going to be going with Egypt against another faction of Egypt. Consider this battle something like a civil war, where a political party of Egypt has seceded, or has chosen to separate themselves from the Ptolemaic dynasty. So in these custom battles, you're able to choose exactly what units you're going to be putting out on the field. You're able to choose your general, your melee infantry, spear infantry, pike infantry, missile infantry, you name it, whatever kind of unit that you want to field into the battle, you can do. Same goes for your enemy. Now, in this case, you're able to choose their general as well as their units. In this case, I gave them a African war elephant unit for their general, and nothing but Egyptian infantry. I must say, this does not bode well based on their army composition, but no matter, small details. So, on the right you can see battle type. It is a river crossing battle, and we're going to be battling in Dura. So without further ado, let's get right to the meat and potatoes of the game, and let me show you just what these battles look like. Alright, now that we're into the battle, we're able to see just what kind of detail they put into this game. Starting with every single unit actually being out on the field. You might see pictures of 7, 8 units, right? But on the battlefield, you see every single individual person. This has 90 men per unit, and you're able to see it in all its glory. You're even able to make groups for these units. Now, a logical group would be infantry, followed by your archers. So that's just what we're going to do here today. I'm going to open up this panel here so I can have a better idea of what's being grabbed or selected.
Yours to command.
I even say something cute when you grab them or select them.
Ready
So-
and waiting.
We're going to select all these units and we're going to click Control and 1 to make them Group 1.
Grouped and ready.
Even they acknowledge that they
What
are now
your
a group.
orders?
And we have the Numidian Bowmen, or excuse me, Nubian Bowmen.
Nubian Bowman.
Yes, that's exactly who you are.
My lord. Come together.
So, we now have Group 1 and Group 2. Now, do keep in mind this is a river crossing battle. Over here, the water is much deeper. No, they even have a land bridge here. I might actually use that instead. So, because of the terrain, I'm able to make natural choke points. They're not going to try and swim through fairly deep water. Some of you might say, it's not that deep, right? Well, you also have to take into consideration they're carrying very heavy armor, at least most of them are, with shields and swords, making it incredibly difficult to swim with that in mind. So, these natural choke points will certainly help me in my endeavors to secure this territory from the enemy. So, just like I mentioned before, I'm able to select these units. Now, instead of it being individual units, I'm able to grab them as a group. I'm going to drag them as I see fit by holding the right click. And those little yellow dots signify where they're going to be standing. So I simply let go of the right click, and just like magic, they just so happen to teleport over here.
Ready for orders.
Now, I'm only able to do this because it's prior to the actual engagement. Consider it a pre-deployment move. I'm also going to do the same thing with the general. Usually when I start a battle, the general has some witty words for the enemy. So I'm going to hit start battle, and we're going to listen to the speech the general has to deliver.
We will show these foreign dogs our mettle today. They did not seek this battle. We have forced it upon them, and that is to their shame. Their lack of courage means the battle is won already. We need but drive them before us.
What were our orders again?
What were our orders again? That's not what the army life is like. I don't know what is.
We await your command.
So, on the bottom right, you're able to hit pause. So I'm going to do just that. I'm going to use this opportunity, again, to deploy my units. We still have some time before this massive force of swordsmen approach, or reach me rather. So I'm going to take this opportunity to position my units. What I like to do is I like to stack them on the bridge. Now, in most cases, this might not be a good idea. You don't want to have all your units in one place. However, they are pikemen, and my enemy do not have arrows. So I'm able to really just create a fantastic choke point that the enemy will not be able to get through. I'm also able to form a massive wall of pikes, making it incredibly difficult for the enemy to try and pierce that. Even with elephants, if you have a couple hundred pointy sticks aiming at you, I don't think it's a good idea to rush right into it. So now, as you can see, I could choose individual units inside of the group. And I'm going to put them in a neat and tidy fashion, one on the left and one on the right. It would be significantly harder for them to shoot over the pikemen that I'm going to have stationed here. So instead I'm going to have them at an angle where they can shoot around them instead of behind them. I'm also going to move my general a bit closer, put him right about here, close enough to influence the men nearby, increasing their morale. Now I'm going to hit the start button so we could all see that unfold. Bear in mind it will be loud as they're moving. As you can see, the first shots are being fired. Let's see how the enemy handles it. Oh boy. As you can expect, they are taking a beating. So, right before I skip forward a bit, I'm going to have my pikemen do what pikemen do.
By
It
your
wouldn't be
command.
much of a pikeman unit if they don't have their pikes out, so let's have them form
Pikemen,
phalanx.
form phalanx! They are done for!
Let's see the enemy get through that. So as you can see, their units are getting absolutely pelted. They have little chance in not only reaching the pikemen, but even getting past the pikemen. And again, it's thanks to this choke point. This is a natural choke point because of the high waters around them. There is no realistic way for them to keep their armor, their weapons, and even swim at the same time. So as a result, they're essentially forced to go through this land bridge as a natural choke point, which is largely why I chose this map as a great example to how you're able to manipulate the game in your favor. Maybe not even manipulate the game, but manipulate the battlefield, as most intelligent strategists would choose to do. So as you can see, it's an absolute bloodbath. I'm going to do my best to refrain from talking when we're in that. It does get a bit louder. I've had to do quite a few different takes to make sure that you're able to hear me while the volleys are being fired. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to stop talking for a moment. I'm just going to let you enjoy the carnage for yourself.
The battle is turning in our favor.
So that lasted maybe 5 minutes, if that even. Now, before I hit the victory button, before we end this, you're able to see quite a bit of detail on the map itself. You're able to see the dead of the enemy littering the field. You're able to hear the wooden shields hit the ground. You're able to hear the arrow volleys meet their marks and simply just absolutely devastate the enemy forces. Now in this situation, you're able to do one of two things. You can simply end the battle here and now, allow the enemy forces to muster, survive even. However, I don't particularly like doing that. Why would I have to fight the same enemy twice? So what I do is I essentially hit continue, I let my units run through their ammo, and reduce the enemies that I'm going to have to fight in the next battle. So, without further ado, let's wrap it up. Oh my goodness. Hey.
Calm them down!
Yeah, that's easy for you to say. Sometimes they say nonsensical things like do not flee as they flee, but nonetheless, this is a beautiful example of just a very small scale battle. It's a beautiful game in all its glory. You're able to take advantage of natural, strategic choke points.
Now to the plunder, lads.
You're able to really just demonstrate what your military prowess is. Most importantly, you're able to enjoy what ancient battles are like, while taking in all the beauty that surrounds us. Thank you for your time, and I certainly hope that you'll give Rome 2 a try.